Aim, shoot, reload, dry shape. Hey, my name is Modelman, and in this video I'm thrilled to introduce my new invention, PC Controller. This two-part application will turn your phones into mouse, keyboard, and game controller all at once. And before I start, let me tell you something. This application is completely free. The download link is in description, and currently it's only available on Android and Windows. Now it's time to learn more about it. Okay, to begin, let's talk about its features. The first feature is called all-in-one functionality, which means your phone becomes a mouse, keyboard, and game controller all at once. The next feature is called intuitive action recognition. With this feature, the mobile app detects your movements and gestures, transmitting them to the desktop app, which then executes the commands on your computer. Then we have touchpad and keyboard. By default, a touchpad will be available for you along with a customizable keyboard, allowing you to navigate and type with ease. The next feature is called joystick simulation. Apart from the touchpad and keyboard, this app takes gaming on mobile devices to the next level with the ability of having two distinct joysticks. The first joystick is called eye joystick for camera control. This joystick allows you to control your mouse and camera, offering a smooth and natural way of looking around in games. It's an immersive alternative to the touchpad, designed to give you the feel of a PlayStation or Xbox controller right on your phone. Then we have walking joystick. This joystick is dedicated to movement with customizable key mapping that lets you walk using arrow keys or the classic WASD layout. This flexibility ensures that the app accommodates a broader range of gamers, providing a familiar and accessible control scheme for navigating in game worlds. The next feature is called one-handed gaming innovation, which means for the first time in the history, you can play games with one hand. Actually, PC Controller introduces a pioneering one-handed gaming mode, a first in the industry. This feature allows the UI to rotate responsively with your phone's orientation, offering a vertical mode for one-handed use and a horizontal mode for a traditional controller setup. Designed with inclusivity in mind, our app ensures that even users with limited mobility can enjoy a full gaming experience, with all necessary controls cleverly integrated into an ergonomic, customizable interface. And the next feature is called zero latency TV gaming. With this feature, you can even connect your PC or laptop to your TV via an HDMI cable and use your phone as a game controller, keyboard, and mouse with no latency. Enjoy smooth real-time responses in your gameplay, ensuring that every action is as immediate as if you were using your actual mouse and keyboard. And then we have emergency input solution. In moments when a traditional mouse and keyboard is out of reach, PC Controller stands in as the perfect emergency substitute. Whether you've forgotten your peripherals at home or they've suddenly stopped working, just turn to your phone for a reliable and responsive alternative. Experience uninterrupted productivity and control all through your smartphone. And finally, we have customization. With PC Controller, everything is customizable. You can adjust colors, shadows, icon and key positions, and key scales to match your style. Beyond aesthetics, every functional aspect is customizable. You can change key inputs, define how they interact with your PC or laptop, and tweak mouse, joystick, and gyroscope settings to your liking. And now it's time to learn how to install it and how to use it. To begin, you click on the download link in the description of this video, and this way you can download the zip file. In the next step, there are two files in this zip that you should extract. A file with APK format and another file with exe format. But before you extract them, ensure to exclude the zip files folder from your antivirus software to prevent any issues with the exe file. To do that, if your default antivirus is Windows Defender, first copy the address of your folder. Next, from the start menu, you search for virus and threat protection. You click on it, and then you go to manage settings. And after that, you click on add or remove exclusions. Then you click on add an exclusion. From here, you choose folder. Finally, you paste your address and click on select folder. From now on, Windows Defender will let PC Controller app to run on your system. If you use another antivirus rather than Windows Defender, you can search on the internet how to exclude the folder from. Here you type the name of your antivirus and then exclude the zip files folder. In the next step, right click the zip file, select WinRAR and choose extract here to unpack the contents. After that, copy the APK file from the extracted folder to your phone. In the next step, on your phone, tap on the APK file to install the PC controller app. Next, ensure that both your phone and PC or laptop are connected to the same Wi-Fi network. After that, turn off any VPN connections on both your phone and your PC or laptop to avoid any connectivity issues. In the next step, verify that you have an active internet connection on both devices. Next, open the exe file on your PC or laptop and launch the PC controller app on your phone. Then type the number of your favorite mode on your PC or laptop and press enter. And if prompted, allow the PC app firewall access to communicate with your phone. Then press the play button on the PC controller app on your phone and enter the IP address provided by the PC app into the PC controller app on your phone. Next, tap connect on the PC controller app on your phone to establish the link between your phone and PC or laptop. And now your phone becomes mouse, keyboard, and game controller all at once. You can control anything through your phone. Once you type a valid IP address on your phone, PC controller app on your phone will remember that address, and the next time that you try to play, it'll create a button based on your last valid IP address. So there is no need to type it again and again. You can just tap on that button to type your entire IP address. Now let's talk about the choices that you have on your PC or laptop. When you open PC controller app, there are 3 modes that you can choose. The first one is game mode, the second one is game mode with custom resetter, and the third one is desktop mode. Once you choose your mode, you cannot change it unless you close your PC app and then open it again. Here I'm gonna talk about the differences between these 3 modes. When you choose game mode, your mouse goes outside of the screen. This is because in games you have to look around. And for example, if your mouse reaches here, the head of your character stops and it cannot rotate to the left anymore. And we can say the same thing about the right side. That's why in game mode, PC controller app allows your mouse to go outside of the screen. But when your mouse goes outside of the screen, you need a key so you can reset the position of your mouse. For the fast mode, that key is the escape key. So let's choose it. I press 1 and then I should press enter. Or here, instead of pressing 1 and then pressing enter, you can just press enter only. It really doesn't matter. Now I press enter, and as you can see it says game mode has been activated, which means that now I can press the connect button and it will be connected. Let's take a look at the mouse. Here, as you can see, if I drag, my mouse goes outside of the screen. To have it back, I just have to press escape. The reason that I chose escape for my app is that in games, when you press escape key to stop your game, the position of your mouse will be reset. That's why I designed the same functionality for my application. Now let's talk about the second mode. In the second mode, there are some cases that you don't want to reset the position of your mouse using the escape key. That's why I designed the second mode. If you choose it by pressing 2 and then pressing enter, the second mode will be activated and the software asks you to choose one of these keys. And any of these keys that you choose will be the key that resets the position of your mouse. For example, here I choose F2 and press enter. And then in my application, I go to menu, tap on the pencil button. Then I go to add tab. I add a key and set its input to F2. And I save it and try to connect again. Let's take a look at the mouse right now. As you can see, my mouse can go outside of the screen, but by pressing escape, it won't go back to the center. But if I press F2, I can have the mouse at the center. And finally, we have desktop mode. If I press 3 and then I press enter, desktop mode will be activated. In case you don't want to play a game, you can choose desktop mode. Now, if I tap on the connect button and try to move my mouse, you can see that it doesn't go outside of the screen. See? So when it comes to choosing your favorite mode, it depends on your situation. Wanna play a game? Choose mode 1 to reset your mouse with escape key, or mode 2 to reset it with a custom key. Otherwise, when you don't wanna play a game, you should choose the third mode. Okay, it's time to talk about customization. When you open PC Controller app on your phone, there are 4 options that you can choose. You have a play button on top. If you choose this option, you can connect your phone to your PC and use your phone as a keyboard, mouse, and game controller. The second option, which is the pencil button, is for customization. If I click on it, the application will show me the keys, and then I have a purple area. The upper half of it is called view area, which can be used as a touchpad for moving your mouse or looking around in games. And the lower half of it is called walk area, which is used to walk in games. And also we have this window, the settings window. But before I show you how to change your settings, I would like to show you how to use the walk area, the view area, and the buttons to play your favorite games. By default, PC Controller application has 2 areas. The top one, which has an eye icon, is the eye area, which can be your touchpad by default. And the lower one is called walk area. So right now, for example, if I use walk area, you can see a joystick, and you can see that when I drag towards the top, it types W, and if I drag to the right, it'll type D, and then we have S for dragging towards down, and for towards left, we have A. And for example, if I drag like this, I can have A and W, and towards this, I have W and D, and then S and D, and then S and A. As you can see, it uses WASD, so we use it to walk in games. So for example, here inside the game, I can look around using the eye area, and I can walk using the walk area. See? And to use both, if you want to play with one hand, you put your index finger on the walk area, and you put the other finger on the view area. See? Now you can walk and view at the same time. If you want to aim using one hand, you can walk and view, and with your thumb, you can hold down the right click, like this. Now I want to show you how to walk, view, aim, and shoot at the same time. First, I'm going to start walking, then I hold my other finger like this, then I aim with my thumb, and then I shoot using this finger. See? And you can reload using the R button. To walk and run, I can drag and then hold on the shift key and play like this. As you can see, I can control the view easily. To rotate your camera faster, you can drag faster, like this. See? Okay, it's time to talk about the options in settings window. Using this window, you can change the settings of PC Controller app. On top of here, you can see we have some tabs. By default, the first time that you tap on the pencil button, Create tab will be selected for you. When you choose this tab, you can choose your favorite settings from here, and then tap on the Create button to create your favorite keys. For example, as you can see, right now we have 2 rows of keys on top and 2 rows of keys at the bottom. So I can choose 3 here by tapping on this arrow icon to have 3 rows on top. Now if I click on Create, you can see that I have 3 rows of keys on top. Because this window is too big, it will cover most of your screen. So to see everything better, I recommend you to go to Add tab by tapping on it. This way this window will be smaller, and then you can drag anywhere on the settings window, for example here, to move the settings window to somewhere else. And as you can see, we now have 3 rows of keys on top. Let me go back to Create. By the way, no matter which tab is selected, you always can move your settings window like this. So to change the number of bottom rows, you can use these 2 arrow keys. For example, let's set it to 1 and click on Create. And now we have 1 row at the bottom. And as you can see, in each row we have 6 keys right now. For example, if you want to have one key in the first row, you can set this option to 1 like this, and then hit the create button. Now we only have one key in this row. Or for example, look at this row. If you want to have 2 keys here, you'll find top row 3 keys and set this number to 2 and then click on create. And now we have 2 keys. One thing about the number of keys in each row is that you can set all these numbers to 0. But when it comes to top row 1, this number should be at least 1. It cannot be 0. And the reason is that you should always have this menu button, because when you're using the application, you need this menu button to go back to your menu. Rather than 3 rows of keys on top and 3 rows at the bottom, you can also have 2 keys at the right side and 2 keys at the left side. Right now the upper right key is checked. Here you can see the key. If we for example check this option and hit create, we can have a lower left key. As you can see, when you create some keys using create tab, by default the input of that key is called none, meaning that if you press this key, nothing's gonna happen on your computer unless you assign a certain input to that key. And that can be done using the input tab, which I'll explain it later. And by the way, that's why I wrote here set inputs from input tab, because by default when you create a button, its input will be none. The next tab is called add. As you can see, as soon as you select it, it says tap on an empty space to add a new button. So right now wherever I click, I can add a new button. Also, as I said before, when you select this tab, the settings window will be smaller, which helps you to see the keys and view and walk area better. The next tab is called move. By dragging on the keys, you can move them like this, or you can move the icons like this, or the eye icon. And also we have an icon to move the divider line. This line that you see here is called the divider line. The area below it will be your walk area, and the area above it will be your view area. So in case you need more areas for your touchpad, you can just move your divider line down like this. Or if you need more space to walk, you can just move it up. This icon is also useful for when you don't want to use one of these areas. For example, if you don't want to use the walk area, you can just move this line down. So you can use this space only for your eye area, which is used for your touchpad, eye joystick, and your mouse. The next tab is called scale. As soon as you select it, you see here it says pick one, meaning that first you have to pick a button so you can scale it. Right now none of the keys are selected. If you want to select one, you have to click on it like this, and now you can see its scale in the x-axis and in the y-axis. If you want to scale it in the x-axis, you use these arrow keys. For example, if I want to increase it, I should tap on this button, see? And now as you can see, every time I tap on one of these buttons, the scale of the selected button will decrease or increase by 5 pixels because the intensity is now 5. So if you want to change its scale faster, you can increase the intensity like this. For example, let's say we set it to 10. Now if I try to increase its scale in the x-axis, you can see that I can increase its scale faster. Also using these two buttons, you can increase the scale of the selected button in the y-axis like this. See? When you decrease the scale of a selected button in the x-axis or y-axis, the scale of it will decrease from the center, as you can see. But for increasing, if the key reaches another key or the border of your screen, it will find another way to scale. See, for example, right now if I increase its scale, it's scaling from the center. But as soon as it reaches this key, see, the next time I try to increase its scale, it'll be scaled from the other side, because there is no way to scale it from this side. And we can say the same thing about the x-axis. See? We're scaling it from the center, but as soon as it reaches the border of the screen, the next time I increase its scale, since it cannot be scaled from here, it'll be scaled from here, this side. See? If you want to increase its scale from both axes, you check this option, and now no matter if I use these two buttons or these two buttons, the selected button will be scaled from both axes by 10 pixels, which is our current intensity. See? or we can decrease it, like this. By the way, you should know that when a button is selected, you can see some small rectangles on top, bottom, right, and left of it. So if I tap on somewhere, this button will be deselected, and you can see that now it says pick one. So now if I select this button, for example, now we can see the yellow rectangles around it, which means that right now this rectangle is selected. And if we tap on these arrow icons, we can scale this button. Okay, now it's time to talk about the next tab. The next tab is called Input. Using this tab, you can tell the PC controller app that when you tap on a button, what should that button do? For example, if we select this button, we can make it the G key on our keyboard. See? Like this. In PC controller app, some of these tabs have multiple sections, including Input tab. Right now, our current section is called Alphabets, which includes alphabets and these 4 characters. To go to the next section, you should tap on this button, and to go to the previous section, you should tap on this button. So let's go to the next section. In the next section, we have the keys for navigation, mouse, and etc. For example, on the first row, we have the left arrow key, right arrow key, up arrow key, and down arrow key. In the next row, we have left click, right click, middle click, wheel up, which is used for scrolling up, and wheel down, which is used for scrolling down. And the other characters are obvious, except this one, multiply. This one is actually the star key on your keyboard. So in case you want this key to be the star key, you should click on it to select this key, and then tap on multiply, like this. In the next section, we have the function keys and numbers. You should be familiar with F1 to F12. We call them function keys. So for example, if you want this button to be the F2 key on your keyboard, you first select it, and then you tap on F2, like this. Or for example, if you want this key to be number 9, you first select it, and then tap on 9. Let's go to the next section. Here we have control keys. This one is the escape key. You should be familiar with this one. Using this one, we quit games. Then we have backspace key. We delete our text using this button. Then we have caps lock key, which we use to write our letters uppercase or lowercase. And then we have numlock key, tab shift control alt space, and then enter. You know all these keys. Finally, in the last row, we have Windows key, which opens the start menu on your Windows. And finally, there is print screen key, which can be used to take screenshots. In the next section, we have game only inputs. When you're inside the games, they should work. But for some applications, especially when you're outside a game, it's better to hold on the shift or turn off your numlock to use them. Unless, when you use this one for example, it's gonna type 7 instead of pressing home key. So inside the game, they should work fine, but in some applications, or outside the games, or even in some certain games, you should hold shift, or if it is very hard for you to hold shift, just turn off the numlock and use them. In the next section, we have non-game only inputs. Well, for these ones, you don't need to hold shift, you don't need to turn off your numlock. They should work, but only when you're not inside a game. Also in some applications, these inputs will not work. So using these inputs, or these ones, is pretty much up to you. You have to test it for yourself and see which one works better for you. And let's see. The next section is called walk and view area. Right now, as you can see, the upper area is your eye area and the lower area is your walk area. If you want to switch them, you use this option, like this. So now the lower area will be the area that you can use for looking around in games, and it can also be your mouse and touchpad and eye joystick, and the upper area will be your walk joystick. If you find these two icons annoying, you can hide them using this checkbox, like this. As soon as you uncheck it, they will be hidden. But that doesn't mean that they will not work. This checkbox will only hide the icons. Let me show them again. If you want to disable these areas, and you don't want this area to be your walk joystick, or this area to be your eye joystick, or your touchpad and mouse, just uncheck this option. As soon as you uncheck it, dragging on the upper area or the lower area will do nothing for you. Let me check it. Before I continue, I'd like to show you what the last checkbox does in action. As you can see right now, I can use my joysticks to walk and look around, and there is not any problem. But let's say I don't like these joysticks and I want to disable them. To do that, first I go to menu, then I tap on the pencil button, and from input tab, I go to this section, walk and view area, and then I uncheck enable walk input and view input. Then I tap on go back to menu and tap on yes, and I try to connect again. And now as you can see, I cannot use my joysticks. So in this case, I can use these 4 keys WASD to walk inside my game. See? Or I can hold 2 of them at the same time. Then we have, instead of WASD, walk with arrows. You know that in some games, when we want to walk, we use the arrow keys. By default, when this checkbox is not checked, if you use your walk joystick, your joystick will use WASD. But you know that for some games we walk with arrow keys. So for those games, you may want to check this option. If you check it, your walk joystick will use the arrow keys to control your character. Let me uncheck it. And in the next section, we have other walk and view settings. For example, this one is called mouse sensitivity. This number means how much your mouse is gonna move when you use your touchpad or the eye area. And this number, mouse speed, is how fast your mouse is gonna move when you drag on this area fast. And I don't recommend you to increase this number because it's gonna accelerate the speed of your mouse too much. So if you think the speed of your mouse is not right, first play with this one. And if you think no, it doesn't make any difference, then that's when you should adjust this number. And you know, sometimes in some games, mouse sensitivity and mouse speed are not gonna help you fix your problem. Actually, in most games, we have an option to control the sensitivity of the mouse. So in that case, maybe it's better to use your game options. Now it's time to see the mouse settings in action. When you're moving your mouse, if you're not happy with the speed, you can go to menu, tap on the pencil button, go to input, and there is a section called other walk and view settings. And for example, I can decrease the mouse sensitivity and then save it. And then I try to connect again. And now, as you can see, my mouse moves slower. But rather than the sensitivity, if I drag my finger very quickly, like this, see? It moves very fast. And that's related to your mouse speed and not sensitivity. To change that, I can go to menu, tap on the pencil button, then I tap on input. And in other walk and view settings section, I can decrease the mouse speed. Right now, instead of 2, it's 1. Then I can go back to menu and save it. After that, I tap on the play button and tap on the connect. And now if I move the mouse, you can see that even if I drag fast, my mouse will not move too much. After that, we have show joysticks. When you use walk and view area, while you're dragging, you'll see a joystick on your screen. If you don't want to see it, just uncheck this option. And then we have this checkbox, which says instead of mouse, view with arrows. If you check this option, you'll lose your control over your mouse, and you can use this area as a real joystick to look around in games. And that joystick will use your arrow keys to control the view in your game. And you'll get the feeling as if you're playing using an actual game controller. And I'm sure you want to see it in action. So let me show it to you. Right now, as you can see, if I use my view area, it moves my mouse. So if I hit the escape button, you can see that I'm moving my mouse. But actually, you can turn your view area into an actual joystick. To do that, you tap on menu, then you tap on the pencil button, then you go to input, you go to this section, other walk and view settings, and then you enable this feature. Instead of mouse, view with arrows. But be careful, when you use this feature, you'll lose your control over your mouse. So now I go back to my menu and try to connect again. And as you can see, if I use it, it's using the arrow keys. So to go back to the game, I press the escape button. And now as you can see, I can look around and it feels like I'm using an actual game controller. And this is a real joystick, which is really cool. And in the next section, which is called general inputs, you can control the speed of your mouse wheel, So for example, let's say we select this button and then we choose wheel up for it. Then using this section, general inputs, you can tell PC controller how fast you're gonna scroll up when you press this button. If you increase it by pressing this button, it's gonna scroll faster. If you decrease it, it's gonna scroll up but slower. And then we have an option called hold to type continuously. You may have seen that when you hold a key on your keyboard, your computer is gonna type that letter, and then after a second, it's gonna type that letter continuously as long as you hold that key. So if you don't want to type continuously, you just uncheck this checkbox. Now let's see this feature in action. So here I have a keyboard and mouse, as you can see, and if I hold down a key, you can see that it types continuously. But I can go back to menu, and then I can go to settings, and then input tab. And if I go to general input section, you can see a checkbox here called hold to type continuously. I just uncheck it, go back to menu tab, and click on yes, and I try to connect again. Now this time, for example, let's try to type the letter P. As you can see, by holding down the letter, it only typed the letter once. So to type it continuously, I have to tap on the key every time. So depending on your situation, you might prefer to use this feature or not. Then we have another checkbox here, which says tap on view area to left click easier. So actually there are two ways to left click using PC controller. One way is that you select a key, and then using this section, this one, you choose left click for it, and from now on this button will be your left click. And another way is that you can tap on your view area. By default, as you can see, it is enabled. So when you tap on this area, you can click on your computer. This is very useful, especially when you want to double click or when it is hard for you to find the left click button. In that case, you can check this option and just tap here on your eye area. However, if you don't like it, you can uncheck it. I'm gonna check it again, and now let's see it in action as well. There are many ways to left click in PC controller. One way is that you can use the left click button. Another way is that you can quickly tap on view area like this. See? There are some cases that when you want to view, you suddenly tap and you left click. If you want to disable this feature, you can go to menu, tap on pencil button, tap on input tab, and then you go to this section, general inputs. There is a checkbox called tap on view area to left click easier. I uncheck it, tap on go back to menu and tap on yes, and then I try to connect again. And now as you can see, if I tap on view area, it doesn't left click. So this is how you can disable this feature. Next we have tilt interaction. As you can see right now, we can see the name of our inputs on each key. When you check this option, if you rotate your phone, based on your phone's orientation, PC controller is gonna rotate these inputs for you. Shall we see this one in action as well? Let's go! I want you to look at the orientation of the letters on the buttons. By default, if you rotate your phone, your inputs will rotate based on the orientation of your phone. See? If you don't like this feature, you go to menu, you tap on the pencil button, then you go to input, and then from this section, general inputs, you uncheck tilt interaction. Then you go to menu, and you connect again. And now as you can see, if I rotate my phone, the inputs won't rotate. So this is how you can disable this feature. Now it's time to learn an important point about tilt interaction. When tilt interaction is enabled, in any direction, your mouse is going to work, as you can see. Or for example, if I hold it like this, the right side is going to be the actual right side here. And when I rotate it like this, or even like this, you can see that the direction is based on the orientation of the phone. And that's it for input. And one point that I want to mention is that you can change the input of all keys except the menu button, because you always need this button to go back to your menu. Next we have Fill tab. Using this tab you can change your fill colors. For example, in this section you can change the color of all buttons using these 3 sliders here. The first slider is for changing your color. The second slider is for the intensity of your colors. It's like making your color black and white. See? If you move it to the left and try to change your color, you won't see any changes. But if you increase it, you can increase the intensity of your color and then you can change it from here. Also, this slider is the brightness of your colors. See? If you move it to the left, all of them will be black, and then changing your intensity or your color will not change anything. To change any color, first choose your favorite brightness, then set your favorite intensity, and finally change your favorite color like this. As long as you're in this section, using these 3 sliders, you can change the color of all buttons. If you go to the next section, you can change the color of the selected button. As you can see right now, it says pick a button. So let's pick one, and then you can change the color of it. When you select the button and you change its color, if you go to the next section, you'll see that color here. And as you can see, it says tap on buttons to fill them with the color of selected button. And here you can see the color of your selected button. So if you want to change this color, you can go back to previous section and change it like this. And then when you go to the next section, you'll see that color here. This section is very useful. For example, let's say right now we want this button to have the same color as this button. So first make sure that you go to the previous section and select this button. Then you go to the next section, and while you can see the color of this button here, you can click on the other buttons like this to change the color of them to the color of this button. For example, if you want these 4 buttons to be red, you select one of them, go back to the previous section, you choose red, you go to the next section, and while you see red here, you can click on these 3 to change their colors to red. In the next section, you can change the color of your inputs. Right now they are black with no brightness and intensity. If you want to make them white, you have to increase your brightness. If you want to choose a color for them, you have to increase your intensity, and then choose your color by dragging on this slider, like this. Let me change it to black. Next, you can change the color of the entire background. See? And in the next section, you can check this option to fill your upper background with a color, and then in the next section, you can change your upper background color, like this. Or in the next section, you can choose a color for your lower background, and in the next section, you can change it, like this. To turn them off, one way is that you can uncheck them from here and here. Another way is that you can change the color of your entire background. As soon as you change it, PC controller will automatically turn off their visibilities. As you can see, this checkbox is not checked anymore, and also this one. And now we can change the color of the entire background from here. See? Alright, that's it for the Fill tab. The next tab is called Stroke. Let me select it. In the first section, which is called Buttons Outline Color, we can change the color of their outlines. But since right now we have no brightness, first we have to increase it. Also we have to increase its intensity. And now we can change their colors, like this. Let me move this slider to the left. In the next section, we can change the color of the divider line. See? Right now it's black. We can give it some brightness and intensity, and then change its color, like this. Let me make it black. In the next section, we can change the stroke width and roundness. Right now, if you look at the corners of the buttons, they are sharp. If you want to make them round, you check this option, like this. And here you can change the width of your strokes. See? In case you don't want them to have any stroke, while this option is checked, just set this number to 0 to turn off their strokes. Let me set it to 4. Also, to change the width of this line, you can use these 2 buttons. See? If you don't like it at all, you can set this number to 0 and it will be hidden. Let me set it to 8. And that's it for this tab. Next we have a tab called Shadow. Using these two sliders, you can change the shadow of your buttons, see? Or the shadow of your background. To see it better, let me move this window upper. See? Finally, we have a delete tab here. When you choose this tab, you can tap on your buttons to delete them. See? As simple as that. But the thing is, since you need your menu button, it is the only button that you cannot delete it. See? If I click on it, it won't be deleted. To reset everything, you can go to Restore Defaults and click on Yes. And everything will be reset. Also, when you have applied some changes, if you want to save them and go back to menu, you can click on this tab and click on Yes. If you want to go back to menu and you don't want to save anything, you choose No. Let me click on it. And we also have a link here. If you click on it, you can go to my YouTube channel, and using this button, you can quit the application. Now it's time to learn how to use PC controller to play your favorite games on TV. So this is the HDMI cable that I bought recently. Their price is usually based on the length of them. This one is a 3 meters one. Let me remove this too. So each TV usually has 4 ports, as you can see, for HDMI cable. If you look at the shape of them, they are similar to your HDMI cable, as you can see here and here. For some TVs, one of them might be different. In that case, it's better to connect your HDMI cable to that port. But for my TV, all 4 ports are look like each other, so it doesn't matter which one I use. So in this case, let me connect my cable to this one. So this is the HDMI port of my laptop. It's at the back of it. Let me connect it. So each TV has a button on it called Input. If you press it, you can choose HDMI and press OK. And now I can see my laptop. For better speed and 0 latency, you can go to your settings and there is a tab called Picture, or sometimes it's called Display. If you go to it and go down, there is an option called Picture Mode. If you press OK, usually there is a mode called Game. You can check it for lower latency. If you don't have the game mode on your TV, maybe other modes lower your latency. You have to test them for yourself. Also, I recommend you to use one screen instead of 2. So here it's better to right click and go to Display Settings. And then make sure to set this option to show only on 2. Because if you choose the other options, it may lower your speed. So here we have PC controller on PC. And we press Enter. And it opens. And again we press Enter. So we can see the IP address. And next we press the play button. And we enter the IP address. And we press Connect. We've opened the game before, so we just use Alt-Tab to go to the game window. And then you can play the game. See, you can look around and you can walk. So now we want to test latency. Aim, release, aim, release, walk. See? Play, look around. Yes. And you can literally stand anywhere you want because it uses Wi-Fi and it's wireless, and then you can play the game. Aim, release, aim, release. You can see how far we are. Play. See? Now let's talk about one-handed gaming innovation. To play with one hand, I can walk using this finger. I can view using this finger. I can aim using my thumb. And I can shoot using this finger. See? And at the same time, I can use these keys on top. For example, I can reload. See? Obviously, like the first time that you use your mouse, it takes some time to get used to it when you want to play a game with one hand. And you also can rotate your phone to turn it into an actual game controller. For example, if I want my view joystick on the right side, I have to rotate my phone this way. And now I can look around like this, see? And I can walk. And this is how you can play your games. I can also use my thumb to aim and walk at the same time, see? And look around. And now we're gonna learn how to use PC controller in Moho. This UI that I have right now is one of the best UIs that you can have for Moho. As you can see, here is my touchpad. I can move my mouse here. So to begin, let's draw a shape. To select the draw shape tool, I can move my mouse on the tool like this. Or another way is that I can hit the S key from here. You can see that I can choose my tools very fast. So to draw it, I have to move my mouse and then I hold on the left click and drag like this. Then I release my index finger, and after that, I release the other finger like this. And you can see that we have all the tools on the left. Line width tool, this is select shape tool, this is add point tool, this is transform points tool. As you can see now, we can move this shape. And as I said, this one is draw shape tool. We have origin tool, create shape tool, eyedropper tool, select points tool, layer transform tool, freehand tool, and blob brush. Now you can see for blob brush, I can hold down the Alt key from here and then drag to adjust the size of my brush. And then I can draw something, see? Like this. And on this side, we have some other keys. For example, I can hold down the control and press Z to undo, or I can hold down the control and shift at the same time and press Z to redo. Or to open project settings menu, I can hold down the control, shift, and then press P from here. Or to render, I can hold down the control and press R. See how fast it is? Let me close it. Or I can go to the next frame using this button, right? And using left arrow key, I can go to the previous frame. To zoom in, I scroll up using wheel up. And we have wheel down for scrolling down. And to reset the view, we can press home key. Also to play the animations, we have this paste key at the center. See? Now let's talk about troubleshooting tips. The first issue that I want to talk about is disconnection issue. If you encounter a disconnection, the best solution is to attempt to reconnect. So this should be the first option that you want to try every time you face a disconnection. Then we have key release issue. Sometimes for a very brief moment, a disconnection between your phone and your PC may occur, causing your phone not to send the message to release a key on your PC. For example, if you hold W on your phone to walk in a game on your PC or laptop, and then release it, but you still see that your character is walking, don't panic. Just press and release the W key again so that the command to release the key will be sent to your PC or laptop, and your character will stop. The next problem you may face is the problem with returning to menu. When you're playing, to be able to go back to menu, all keys should be released. If for some reason one of them is still pressed, simply press the home key on the phone and then return to the application to resolve the issue. The next problem is problem with VPN usage. To ensure a stable connection, always keep your VPNs turned off on both your PC and your phone, because VPNs will interfere with connection stability, leading to unexpected disconnections. Then we have problem with using multiple devices. Avoid trying to connect two phones simultaneously, as it will cause disconnection. So this application cannot handle two players at the same time. Here, as you can see, we have two phones with PC controller app on them. The thing is, you cannot play with two phones. See? They cannot connect together. It gets disconnected every time. The next issue is the problem with app sleep mode. If your phone automatically puts apps to sleep and you experience disconnection, simply reconnect after returning to the app. that will solve the problem. The next issue is called persistent connection problems. If any of the tips that I've just mentioned don't solve your problem, then you should restart the PC application to reestablish the connection. And the next problem is problem with IP address. If for some reason you think that the IP address given by the PC controller app is wrong, you can go to your start menu and then search for command prompt, go to it, and then type ipconfig and press enter. This way you can see all IP addresses of your system, and instead of using the IP address given by PC controller app, you can use one of these IP addresses. And the last problem is that sometimes your touchpad might not work properly, and this is because you used your actual mouse after establishing the connection. So just try not to use your actual mouse after you connect your phone to your PC, because this way some games will find out that this app is not actually your mouse and they'll try to prevent you from using the touchpad. And one thing I want to mention is that there is a limitation to this application. While you can customize a vast array of key inputs within the app, the FN key or the finger key is the only key that cannot be assigned to any keys in PC controller app due to its unique hardware level function. Finally, let's talk about the technology behind the magic. For the mobile app, I developed it using GameMaker Studio, and for the PC app, I crafted it with Python. Before we wrap up, I want to extend a special thank you to two amazing young boys, Hadi and Muhammad, who helped me shoot this video. Your assistance was invaluable. Additionally, I want to express my gratitude to everyone who helped me test the app before its release. Your feedback and support were crucial in making this project a success. And to anyone who's watching this video, obviously it's not possible to test this app with every game at all times, so there is no guarantee that it will work with all games. Your feedback is essential for such testing, but certainly it is designed to work with many games. So if you have tested this application, I'd be glad if you share your experience with me in the comment section. And it would be better if you write the version of your Windows and the name of the games and programs you've tested. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and see you in the next one.